Okay, so all we do is to open your MySQL database is we go to the URL, and in the URL field we type local host. You see, this is how exactly I have typed. Okay, now this you can see here, this is the name of the local server. When you install XAMPP, you will reach to this stage automatically. It's a double click process. You double click, next, 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 finish. It will install the software in literally 2 minutes. Okay, once the installation is finished, just go to the browser and type localhost. When you type localhost, this is the welcome screen which you will see normally on your computer screens. It's an English version. You can have any particular language you prefer to see these instructions. Okay, I'm keeping it English as a common. Now, here on the left-hand side, can you see PHP MyAdmin? This particular section of the table. Can you see that? Now, this is the link to open your database. I know I can read your faces. It sounds slightly weird because it's not a conventional way to open any particular software, but this is how it works. Okay. In future, whenever you want to work with database, type localhost, go to phpMyAdmin, click on that link. So when I click on phpMyAdmin, your web browser will show you the interface for the database. Do you see that? When I've learned this, it took me also, well, 1 or 2 months to just fit in my brain that I can access a database through a browser. Because it's a really strange feeling for someone, for us, those who have those who are used to use conventional softwares to go to all programs and but yes, gone. Yeah, you need to have a browser, any browser. So even if you're feeling strange, it's totally acceptable because it happened to me as well when I've learned it. So it will take some time for you to get into that mode that yes, the database can be accessible through a web browser. Okay. So it's fine. You're not, don't you worry too much. But once you come to this screen, with it just clicking on phpMyAdmin, there are various tabs at the top you can see. And on the left hand side, as you can scroll here, there's a list of databases created. Okay. In MS Access, databases are stored in your D drives or in your USB files and anywhere you want. In here, they are accessible through browsers. Okay. Now, we don't have our own database, so I'm going to quickly show you a demonstration of creating a database, creating a simple table with 1 or 2 columns, and then I will let you have a practice on creating these tables. So the first step to create the database using MySQL, you go to the Databases tab, and it's really a graphical user interface based application. So you'll find it very, very easier to approach. We click on the tab. It asks you create a new database. We just click inside the text field and write the name of our database. So I'm just gonna say 1065 DB, which is our group. Okay, because already test my database must be already occupied. Could be using same computer for a long time. I'm just going to create our group name 1065 and a DB as an extension as a database. Rest options you can just keep default for a while and click on create. That's it. It gives you a message that database has been created. Now you can scroll the list. They go right at the top because it's a first numeric value. That's our database. When you click on it, on the content section, you can see it's an empty database right now because there is no single table. So, right, simple, create a table on a database 1065 DB, right? So let's say I'm creating a user login database where I will have a username and password for our registered users, all right? I'm just going to create a table name called login, and number of columns, normally I'm going to add 3. Now, the question is why 3? Because even it is 1 column, we will need for username, all right? Second column, we will need for storing the passwords. There's one more column by default we should have. Now in MS Access, we have seen that. What is it? No. to have a values. Primary key, each record in your table must have a unique number, an automatic number. Okay. Now this number will identify that this is a unique record. So normally we have that record as an auto number as a data type, but we can save it as an ID. So the column name will be ID, but there's a simple function where we can set this column to behave as an auto number. Means every time a user submits record, it will have a new number generated by itself. Okay. So in future also, as many tables you will create, the number of columns will be based on as many you have in the form, plus one has to be always there, which is for ID, a common column. So for clear, 3 columns, table name is login. Just gonna quickly finish that as well. And if I click on go, you see it gives you the next window where it asks few details about your database table. Now the details it asks you is, I'm just gonna move this window for a while. Name of the column at the top. Okay, the first column name, ID. Second column name, username. And the last column name, password. And there are various things we can attach. ID, normally it is a numeric value, so we can keep it integer. What should be the data type for username? Text, because it's a text information. So I can just click on the type and select the text. Password is a text. Why generally you should use text? Because text don't have any validation. So if someone enters numbers as a password, the database will still accept it. Okay, so don't keep too many conditions for IDs and passwords. Okay, you can restrict those things through your website's browser. But we're gonna go through those things in detail at level 3. Right now, we just give a 3 column names. We select the correct data types as we have set, and only for your column ID, do you see this auto increment here? Do you see the field? Now that field will set each column, whichever column you want, to have an automatic increment. All right, so that when a record entry comes in, the number of the column will change. So that I'm gonna only set it for ID column. Okay, so wherever you have an ID column, just click on this checkbox, and it will accept that box as a auto increment. So let me close this off. Set it auto increment, and if I scroll down, there's a go button. So if you click on, oh sorry, thank you for that. There you go, text. Scroll down, say go. Save your table. Processing request, and there you go. That's your MySQL table. Okay. Now I'm gonna enter one fake entry for you, and then I'll have you practice on it. Once the table has been created, we go to click on the table. It shows you your 3 columns, as you can see, ID, username, and password. There is no values because the database is empty right now. In the table, we don't have a single record. But can you see any familiar tab which can tell you that you can add values? Do you see anything in this interface where it says you can allow to add values to the database? Anything you can spot, Jack? You can spot anything where you can add actually values to your tables? Insert, pretty straightforward. This is the insert tab. Do you see that? Click on insert. It shows you your columns, 2, 3, and the boxes to add the values. So here, ID, let's put 1, username, James Bond, Password James not 7. Right. Yeah, I'm suing James not 7. And let's have a go. When you say go, database will automatically run the query. You don't even need to type any queries. Now, if I'll go back to the browse, can you see that? That's it. But you'll be more excited at level 3 because in right now, I have inserted values, right? In Dreamweaver at level 2, we have learned how to design the form, adding text fields and buttons, right? At level 3, we will learn how to design the forms, connect them to this table, which we have designed. So when someone goes online, they can submit the form and all the records or the value, bless you, they will come here. Then again, you can design pages using Dreamweaver where you can recall these values from database and display in your website's browser. So this is what dynamic websites are: adding records, retrieving records, and playing around with your. Yes, yes. Yeah, they will registration. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. But we have no, but no records are not added pre. We do registration first, where we ask them their name, date of birth, and gender, and address, and login password as well. So when the registration is finished, the database will already have lots of things plus ID and password. Yeah. It's same like when you register on Facebook or when you do email accounts opening registrations, they ask you too many things. And one other thing they will ask you, I think the first thing they ask you is what login ID and password you want to set. So everything goes in your database. And in future, you only use login ID and password so that you can enter and access all your information. Yes, this is MySQL. It's not a language. It's created for website, for the website and through the browsers. So are we clear on adding a database, adding a table, and adding the values into the table? Yeah. Right. Let me save the demonstrations, and I want you to create same add a database. Right. Write your name as a database name. Add a table as a login, and create user ID password. So just a very simple table to add our two values. Okay. Let me stop the demonstration here.